guys, welcome back to the drawing table. We're starting a new, it's more like a unit because it's going to be 3 parts, 3 separate lessons. So they all go together though. I'm calling it the Shy Apple. This is the Shy Apple Part 1. You might be able to figure out kind of what we're doing just from the title, but I don't want to give that away right now. We're going to start off by looking at an artist named Christoph Niemann. This is a guy who's still alive. I think he's like a year older than me. He's probably like the world's most famous illustrator. And when we start talking about an illustrator or a designer, everybody's heard of a graphic designer, but an illustrator is like a designer, but they specifically do the imagery for like book publications and newspapers and magazines and stuff like that. Okay, and web, obviously web too, periodicals and things like magazines, web magazines, whatever it is. So images are everywhere. You need them everywhere. So this is their very first argument when people start talking about art isn't important, or they just overlook it. They don't see it. But, you know, if you think about a world that doesn't have any pictures, it wouldn't be the same at all. Okay, what I would be doing with you right now would just be a body of text that you would be reading. There would be no video because the video itself is a work of art. Not a great one, but anyway. So we're gonna look at some work by Niemann right now. So this is his most recent cover for the New Yorker magazine. Take a close look at it, and I want you to tell me what it's about, what it means. Okay. So I see the cover. It's all in red. Okay, right there. It's very intense, red, black, and white. So this is like the most intense contrast, and like the color red is kind of indicative of maybe an emergency or something very, very, you know, like a heart-throbbing deal or whatever it is. It's like emotional, visceral, whatever word you want to use. And then he's using symbols. He's using the dominoes. You look at the dominoes. What does a domino represent? When you hit one, it hits the next one, the next one, and the next one. And before you know it, 1,000,000 dominoes have fallen down. Okay, and then in the middle there's a guy sneezing. Okay, so we know what this is about. And now look at the shape of the dominoes. Okay, what is that the shape of? It's pretty brilliant, you know. So like, we look at illustration. Being an illustrator, it's an opportunity to flex your intelligence, to me, and your talent, which you have, and you have both of those things, and we're trying to grow them right now. So look at this artwork. Here's another one by him. It's called, I don't know what it's called, but it shows a picture of somebody at Thanksgiving and what's happening. Okay, this is social commentary, and it might have gone with an article about how people act at the holidays or whatever. I didn't read the article, but I'm more interested in the image. Look at it. It's telling a story. The guy, instead of you know, even cooking the chicken, it looks like the turkey's raw. Has to be a turkey, right? And it's not even, I don't think it's even cooked, if I remember it right, but he's posing with it with a selfie stick, and it's, you know, instead of hanging out with a family or cooking the meal or whatever, even watching football, you know what I mean? Which is something you would traditionally do on Thanksgiving. So, you know, you can start getting these images. You look at it, it's a nice interaction with the viewer and the artist here. You look at the image, you decipher what it means, and you get it. It's like, it's a kind of a cool feeling when you get it. This next image with the couple on the beach, I'm really not sure about the concept, but it's neat. He's got a lot of these images where he takes found objects and turns them into something. It's kind of at the heart of what we're talking about in this first section, is abstraction, simplification, boiling things down to the point where there's just enough information for it to be universally interpreted. Okay, so nobody is wondering what is going on here, because the paperclip really does, when you bend it in just a certain way, it really does look like the folding chair that you sometimes have trouble getting open or closed at the beach. And this could have been a cool image to go around the story about, you know, people going to the beach. And I'm more interested in the imagery using symbolism, simplification, and what level is what, right or wrong. In the last image, this one's called The Pursuit of Happiness. And I don't know if this is his most successful image or not, But it's pretty cool, you know, and he's doing this again where he takes a found object, but in this case he's changing it a lot, and it's called the pursuit of happiness, but it's really what it's saying. It's maybe saying that people have substituted the pursuit of true happiness with the pursuit of money, and he's relying on the fact that everybody knows the story of Moby Dick in the last image there, the relentless and incessant pursuit of the guy, captain's, you know, tirelessly searching for the white whale. In this case, it's money. So, you know, if you have a job and the editor says, hey, listen, we have a story about people who are, you know, too materialistic in this upcoming edition of our magazine or our blog or whatever it is, and we need an image that really tells about people who have gotten a little too materialistic or money hungry or whatever. They've forgotten about the true meaning of life. You know, come up with something, and it has to be good, you know. So this might have been a good answer. So again, I'm talking about boiling things down, simplification. It doesn't really look like a real whale, you know, in this case. And like, this is what we're talking about in this unit. Maybe part of what we're talking about is the distinction between applied art and commercial art. Like, this is made for a purpose. It's to sell a magazine in this case, or something like this, versus fine art, which is just a painting somebody would hang in their home or put up in a museum, or maybe it's a statue in a park or whatever. This art is art for art's sake. It doesn't have any other purpose to people to say, oh, look how beautiful this is, or this looks so nice here. Or you look into a fine art painting, and sometimes there's symbolism, sometimes there's a message, or communicating something that is really often, but it's different. It's usually more complex. Sometimes not, and of course there's always crossover. But think about this, like, think about in illustration, you know, it's kind of, it's got to be digested quickly, where like in a painting, and like sometimes I think people, when they first start off to be an artist like you, a young person, they always want to go for realism, you know, objective drawing. Like, oh look, I drew a picture of my dog and it looks just like my dog. These are good skills and they're admirable, but it's not always that. And like, when people go to become designers, illustrators, sometimes they're trying to bring that into what they do. I can't say whether it's right or wrong, but I think knowing about this and what we're going to learn is going to help you, even just thinking about it, you know. And there's a lot of gray areas. That's why it's hard to teach art. But I think just asking these questions to yourself and looking at this is going to make you more informed, make you a stronger artist, and make you consider other answers when you're posed with questions and challenges. Okay, so I'm going to show you an example of what I want you to do for the first step on this. So we're going to try to draw symbols. We're thinking about all the symbols, and a lot of times people will go straight to like emojis, which are sometimes good, but it's not exactly what I'm talking about. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. Yours are going to look different than mine, but that's what I want. I want you to sit down for 15 or 20 minutes on a piece of paper, front and back if necessary, and draw as many of these symbols as you can think of. These are simplified images that people will know what they mean. They have a connotation to them, you know. And let me show you a few, and this will help explain. So on the drawing table here, I've done it already. Sat down with a piece of paper. I don't know if there's anything on the back, but I had 2 sheets actually that I filled completely up. It can be hard to think about it, but once you get it going, and you know, you have the advantage of being able to come back to this if you want. You don't have to do it all in one sitting. But I have some examples. I circled some that I thought were pretty common, but this one, the broken heart, we know what that means. A clock can represent like the passing of time or an appointment. This is, you know, maybe this is impending catastrophe, or obviously this represents maybe like an explosion. A simple flag could represent patriotism. We know what this one means. These 2 skulls are different. You know, this one might mean death. This one might mean poison. This one's interesting, you know. This is a symbol. This is not what a tree really looks like. This is an abstraction of a tree. But if we see this symbol, we know tree. You know, I don't know. Some of these are more. This might represent war, or the military. We've seen this one before. What does this one mean? Obvious, right? It's your birthday. This one could mean a couple of things. This one is in the worksheet. The angel and the devil. I can go on and on here, but see how this one we use a lot. Sometimes these are overused. Here's another one about like time passing by, or running out of time, or we're under, you know, we're under pressure to get things done by a certain time. Even as simple as wavy lines. These wavy lines can mean water, or they could mean it's hot, or it could mean a girl's hair. So I think I've explained this enough, and let's see how many of these you can come up with. And try not to cheat, you know. Think of them out of your own head, because I'm looking to see different ones. I'll take all of them and look at them and see how many are repeated. Okay, but think about the symbol versus what it really looks like. Okay, and you'll see this in the Neiman video. So I'm asking you to watch a video and answer some questions, and then I want you to do this drawing and turn both of those things in. So you'll turn in like a Google sheet, a Google Doc, and a picture of your drawing, okay, for this week's assignment. Terrific.